just a lockdown country. You can move from one end to the other within a day. Like, you can move from the Zambian border to the Mozambican border within a space of 2 hours. And in the southern region, it's all surrounded by Mozambique. I don't know whether you have been to the south already, or you're going to go to the south. Yes, as you go down the south, you see that you'll be traveling on a road on the border with Mozambique and Malawi. So it's not like these borders where you have a fence, people just live their normal life, and there is a road that cuts through the villages all the way to the southern part. So as a national library, we have 16 library centers at the moment. We've grown by 2. Last time I think you were here, we had 14. So in the southern region, we are in Mulanje, Luchenza, Blantyre is our regional library, and we now have a library in Monkey Bay and Balaka. Balaka is just along the road. If you have time, as you're going down south, I wouldn't mind calling them that you're going to stop. But I just see the library there. It's just very close to the road in Balaka. It would be nice if you stopped there.
The only time you'll be happy, do you have a guide? Who would know whether this is Balaka or not?
I know where Balaka is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've slept there. I went to church there.
Yes.
Oh.
We have a picnic there.
So we also, within the central region, we have several centers in Lilongwe. We're here at headquarters, and then there's a place we call Lilongwe Community Center. And then we've established some satellite libraries. And these satellite libraries are actually in locations where people live, like in settlements, in high-density areas, where most of the majority of Malawians live. And we noted that most of them did not manage to come to this library. So we have these libraries that are in the communities, like in Area 36, like in Fall Baptist Church, there's a library. And at Lilongwe Community, there's a library. And there's a library in Kolo. We're sharing the premises with the Anglican Church. They've offered us the space at the church premises. And we are yet to open another satellite library in another high-density area where we feel most of the low-income groups live, and there is need for more books to such communities. As we move north, we are on Likoma Island, which is a little challenge. I don't know whether you have time to board the Lala or one of these boats to the island, but we have a branch there. In Kata Bay, there's a library branch, and Zuzu and Karonga. We are hoping that we will get to all the districts, because what we've done is we've worked with the district assemblies to set up libraries, and these libraries are managed by the district assemblies. We just come in with the advice, and also we share with the books that we get from Books of Africa, Children's International, Bookaid. We share with them so that they could be passing on these books to the communities. We've set up a library in Balaka, and this year the 2 additions are Balaka and Salima. We noted that the district councils had set up these libraries. They were doing their best to run the libraries. So as part of our expansion, we are adopting these libraries. And I particularly mentioned the Balaka because this library was started by a sister from the Bakita Catholic community. They are from India. And then she lived in that community, and she noted that most of the kids, when they were going to school, they were not carrying any books at all. They were just carrying notebooks. So, being from India, she went to the district assembly and to find out whether she could set up a small library. So she was given one bookshelf, and she took that one bookshelf and collected the books that she brought from India. And then she went to the district council to find out whether they had a library. And she found out that there was a library, but this library had been closed in 1998 because the person who used to run the library passed on. And then the council didn't open it up. So when she found out that there was a room that used to be a library, she went there to find out how she could take over. And she went there, she found out that this place had been closed for 6 years. So she went to the nearest secondary school and asked for volunteers. The students volunteered and they went and cleared up this library room and started setting up this library. She went back to India and asked for some support. So she came back and had some chairs made. And then she learned that there is a national library, that we were setting up school libraries with the support of Code of Canada in various communities. So she came and to find out how they would join this particular project. So we registered them as a district council. They became part of that project. And then she came and she attended our teacher librarian workshops that we normally run. And after that she went back and started organizing this place. The place had no electricity, there was no water, but she worked with various communities to set up this library, and there is electricity, there is water. And she kept interacting with us. She would ask various people to support. So she went out to meet with corporate companies, and she ended up even having computers in the library, TVs, and she set up a group for youth in the library, so that youth that were attending various secondary school courses and colleges and universities during the holidays, she would bring them to that library, and that's where they were spending most of their time. So there is a good background to this library, and then we adopted this library from her, but she has also set up a children's resource center. And she's created a very beautiful children's library. For the Malawi standards, we think she has come up with the best children's library in there. So she's a nice person to meet, like Sister Julie. She's got very interesting stories about how she started working with the communities. So anyway, as a library, as I said, we have those centers. And then we have extramural outreach programs where we are serving communities that have set up libraries on their own, be it church organizations or NGOs or just clubs in the rural communities. We're working with them. And the books that we get as donations, like the ones that we get from Books for Africa, Children's International, we go out once in a while to these communities to distribute the books. But we also encourage those communities that have someone within the community that visits the regions like Planta, Zuzu, or Lilongwe, to come and collect books on behalf of the communities to take them back. Because we can't manage to visit all centers. So if they can manage to come and collect the books, we encourage them to do so.
How many outreach libraries do you have?
These ones, the last count that we had, in these small communities, there were more than 2,000. Wow. So these are small spaces that we just make sure that the communities can come when they visit. Mm-hmm. And we had a project where we're actually setting up these libraries in various primary schools, and they are in excess of 500, the ones we set up on the project. But in each of those schools, we were encouraging the communities to be coming to the library. We set up a committee to run the library. So it consisted of the school management and then the community members. We wanted the community to be involved because you go in a rural community. I think you understand this when you go in the rural community. Our rural communities, some of the rural communities that we have here, are that maybe the school is the only space that has structures that look attractive. Mm. And then when you have the library there, and you set up the library, maybe it's one of the rooms that looks like it has something that people may need to get. So you need to involve the community so that they should own the library. They should know that this facility belongs to them. So you work with the community and the schools so that as they work, they can work together. And then in the morning, the school will be using the library. In the afternoon, you open it up so that if there are people that also want to read within the community, they can walk to the library and read the books in the library. That, if you do that, you have support from the community.